All right, guys, welcome. Thank you for coming to the Fort Gateways. We are going to kick off today with the very first gateway. And I just wanted to say, again, thank you guys for coming. This is going to be a real, I think, a lot of fun these next 4 days. I've got some really cool stuff planned for us. And the idea is we'll have 20 minutes of content, but then we might have some fun little other things along the way afterwards. So I think it's going to be great. I'm really excited to do this. So this whole series, my idea here is really to just get us into the power in our absolutely amazing female bodies, get rid of that shame, get rid of the disconnect, and have some really solid plans to embody this power. Not just in your body, not just in your life, but also in your business. So I'm really looking forward to seeing everything can come together in a really beautiful way. I just wanted to kick off with a little bit about me. I promise this won't be long. If you don't know me, I'm the period coach. I've been on some stuff. I've had some articles written about me on some stuff. So that's kind of cool. I like it when it all starts to happen. I just picked some of the more popular things there to throw up. But if you don't know me, I have a pretty traumatic period story in my life. It was not awesome. I had really, really, really bad periods. I mean, really bad periods. So when I actually started this whole thing, I didn't realize what a big impact that I was going to be having with it. And I didn't really realize when I started this either what I was going to be doing with it. So it was kind of an amazing adventure that I went through to get here. My high school periods were really bad. I mean, horrifically bad. And I am assuming endometriosis. I have not had the surgery to confirm that, but I'm assuming that because I'm classic symptoms of endo. I mean, classic symptoms of endo, from the horrific pain to the terrible bloating to the really bad mood swings to the throwing up because the pain was so bad. All of these things, and it was like having an out-of-body experience every month because it was just so bad. So I was on birth control and I was on narcotics, and none of those things helped or worked. So that's not cool either. Except that I did discover that Batman was really very colorful when you're in high school and on drugs. There you go. So it didn't really work out well. And I spent a long time searching for a solution. I was on birth controls that have been recalled because women died on them. So I did absolutely spend the next 20 years of my life trying to figure out how to fix this and make it better. And I got there. I figured out after going to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition to get my health coaching certification that through diet, I could actually have a way better period. And in fact, I shifted my diet. I did some lifestyle adjustments. I had a really good period for the first time in my life. And it was great. But I had started a new business and I immediately burnt myself out. And my periods went right back to being just as miserable as they were when before I had done the dietary changes. So that's when when it really occurred to me that it's not just diet, it's not just lifestyle, it's really the whole kit and caboodle, and really pulling everything together is the only way to do this fully in harmony. So I figured out how to run my business so that my period wouldn't take me down every month and I wouldn't lose an entire week of work to it every month. And I just so happened to have pretty fantastic clients that were all running their own businesses, or they were CEO for nonprofits or something. So I ended up having a really cool ability to experiment on my clients and myself, and all this hormonal balance research that I was doing. And I was seeing things like verbal skills tied to estrogen levels and just all these really cool things that our body does as our hormones change throughout the month every month. And I'm thinking, why aren't we using this to our advantage? Why aren't we doing something with this knowledge? If you know your verbal skills peak with your estrogen, why would you not do your verbal tasks when your estrogen is the highest? So I started doing that with my clients. I started doing that with myself. I started creating these problem-solving loops that worked with your hormones. And it was just a really cool adventure to go on, and it worked really well for them. That turned into Your Business, Your Flow, my groups that I did for the last 2 years, teaching this stuff to groups of women. And that really worked really well. So then it turned into a membership group. Yay! So it was a really cool evolution to see it happen. It was really great to watch it work for so many women and so many different kinds of businesses, and not even just businesses, but women who are working. I had a mom of 5 who was part of one of our rounds. I had an overachieving mom of 3 that was in one of our rounds. So it was really cool to see how it worked, not just for businesses, but also for moms running households and just doing it really smart. So it was just a very cool experience all around. So as I was doing all this, I was finding that there were 4 gateways that you really needed in order to make this happen. So these are the non-negotiables that came up. And when I was taking private clients, I would have to have these conversations like, I need you to commit to charting. Can you do that? Yes. I need you to commit to interacting and asking for help. Can you do that? Yes. I need you to commit to working on your mindset every step of the way and really embracing this flow and the beauty that's in it. Can you do that? Yes. Okay. Can you start working on a vision that's really connected to you, that's really a lot bigger than you might think it is, and really going for it in a big way and actually start implementing those changes now? So that kind of became part of my interview for one-on-one clients. And then I use these in Your Business, Your Flow. And that's sort of how these 4 gateways were born. And I think of these things as your way to have success, and whatever success is defined for you. So for some people, success is just having more time with their kids, and they're really perfectly happy with their income, or they want more income and more time, or they want to travel around the world and not have to stress out about stuff. So depending, everyone has their own version of success. Really, for me, I think whatever it is, the key is, do you feel fulfilled? Because success, you can have success and not be fulfilled. But are you really fulfilled? That's really when I think you've hit success. So it's being energized, not burnout. It's being inspired, not pushed. And that's really a mindset shift on success. That goes hand in hand with a mindset shift on menstruation and menstrual cycles too. So kind of all going together. So I want to just say for a second, take a really deep breath and drop into your body. So just real nice deep inhale and exhale, and just drop right into your body and let yourself think, there's time. There's plenty of time. I have a lifetime ahead of me. And allow your idea of time change and feel it just grow bigger and more expansive. And this is where, when you're in flow, time feels expansive. And this is really what I want to see for my women, for women around the world, just changing from this crazy, frazzled, stressed out state to, oh, okay, it's all going to get done. All right, cool. That's my version of success. That's really where I feel like I'm in flow. And that's really what I think flow is being in that beautiful space. So one of the things that Dr. Laura Briden says that I love is, women are not small men. And we've been living like it. We've been working like it. We've been pushing like it. And it's time to stop it. It's time to stop living as if you were a man. We are not little men. We're not small men. You're women. It's time to embrace that and use that. So today we're going to talk about gate number 1, which is charting. So I hope that you have your chart. I have my chart in my business planning charting book. And we're actually going to chart today after this. So if you have your chart, awesome. And if you don't, run off and grab it and print it real quick right now. It's in a bunch of the emails that I've been sending you. It's also at theperiodcoach.com/ETRC. It stands for Enter the Red Circle, which is the name of the charting book. So this is just the charting is Enter the Red Circle. Your Business, Your Flow is business charting book. A little different, but the chart's the same. So if you don't have it, grab it. Okay, so charting your course. I love this thing. I really believe that charting your course is tapping into your freedom. It is about getting your flow, getting your freedom, having that for you, for yourself. It's 100% true. No more surprises, no more anticipating your body's needs. Well, actually, you are anticipating your needs. You know what's going on in your body, so you're able to anticipate what your body needs. No more surprises. No more going, oh shit, I just got my period, crap, and mayday, right? So on one hand, we've got the women who are surprised by their periods, who didn't see them coming, and I will admit that I'm very jealous of those women. But their downside to that is they mismanage their energy. So the women who are on this extreme, don't even see it coming, don't feel anything, have no changes, tend to burn out regularly. They mismanage their energy very often. They don't give themselves the downtime and the peak times appropriately because they don't know, because they don't feel it in the way that the women on the other end of the spectrum, like myself, that are just can't miss it if you tried, full of PMS or pain or bloating or sore boobs or any of those things, all of the crappy, none of the divine, right? We tend to be fatigued. We tend to feel much more often left behind, like everyone's getting ahead except for us. We feel time crunched all of the time. It's not awesome. So this is one of those things. We all need charting, no matter which end of the spectrum you're in or if you're in between. We all need charting. Even our perimenopause and our menopausal women, I think, should be charting and just using charting with the moon. But this is why we all need charting. So one of my rules is you can't say that living a life in flow doesn't work if you're not charting, because you don't know. You can't possibly know if it works or not if you're not charting. So this is why charting is a non-negotiable. How does charting work, and how does it give you freedom, right? That's the next question there. So the foundation, you need to collect your data. It doesn't have to be boring and tedious as it sounds, collecting data. I get that. And I'll show you my chart in a second, but charting can actually be a lot of fun, and it can be really amazing and liberating. It makes you proactive versus reactive. So if you find yourself putting out fires all the time, not getting past the essentials on your to-do list, you know how your to-do list has the shit that needs to get done right now, but then you've got the things like update my about page, or cook myself a real meal, or kick it on the porch with my girls, but you never quite get to that section of the to-do list. That's because you're too busy reacting and you're not being proactive. We don't want you reacting. We want you proactive. And that is essential. This charting is essential for getting out of that reaction cycle and into the proactive cycle. It is essential for your planning. So if you want to plan, if you want to be really in flow and have a plan that works for you as a woman, not a small man, you have to let the patriarchy go. You have to let all of the little voices in your head go. And it's hard, and I know that, which is why we're going to get to that third gateway mindset. But you've got to let it go. You have to plan for your life, for your business in flow. And that's how you get to that proactive part. So instead of being reactive, you can get proactive because you're charting and you're connecting and you're really pulling it all together. So I thought I would share with you a story that's not mine so that you can get a little perspective on this. This is Laura Maria. She is delightful and amazing. And she had really, really sort of horrific periods as well, just like myself, although she did not stop the bleeding for about 2 to 3 weeks a month. So she would have maybe a week off a month, and that was it. So we really started figuring out, okay, if you want this business, and this is where we're at, then how do we make this work for you? So we started harnessing her up times and using them to their fullest advantage, using what you're good at when you're good at it, right? And then we started using that downtime so that she was actually getting something out of that downtime. And then that downtime started to shrink. The more we did this, the more we got her in flow, the more she started utilizing the tools and the techniques for hormonal balance on a day-to-day basis. We got that time, that downtime down, and really were able to harness that uptime really, really well. And this is her own quote here. It was incredible to see the difference. It was incredible to watch her launch the business as she was healing. So simply by charting, by getting in tune, by using the tools, she was really able to take her business up, up and away. And it was fantastic. And honestly, let's be real, lots of things are going to change throughout your life. So having this chart in front of you and seeing how things are shifting and changing, there's not just one hormonal change. It's not, you don't just go from not having a period to having a period, and then from having a period to not having a period. Those are not the only two changes in a woman's life. There are different flows and ebbs throughout the years that we all go through, and seeing your patterns really helps you anticipate what's happening, what's going on, where changes are happening, all those kind of cool things. So this is my chart, and this is what I mean by it doesn't have to be boring data collection. It can be really actually engaging and awesome and fun and unique to you. So this is just my chart. This is how I choose to express my flow, my cycle, my data. You can see I like to take lots of notes. I really like it. When I go back in time and I look at my old charts, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. That was a really cool weekend. Or I was like, oh yeah, that was a mess, wasn't it? Well, that's pretty good. All right. I like it's like having it's like a bullet point diary, but it shows me exactly how my body reacted, how I anticipated stuff, how things worked. And I can go back in time and I can see over the years how I flipped moons, how I would go from bleeding with the full moon to bleeding with a new moon. And now I can tell when my body's going to flip again. I know what my body is going to do, and I know the signs of my body deciding it's time to flip and start bleeding on the new moon, or it's time to flip and start bleeding on the full moon. In fact, I just finished a flip, not this last new moon, but the one before, flipping fully over to the new moon. So it was a really cool thing to do. So this is the charting. We're going to hang out and fill out our charts together. In fact, I hope that you will stay and fill yours out with me and ask questions, and we'll go through this one symbol at a time if you'd like. There's a key that goes with it, and that key is where you can make your decisions on how you want to do things. So just some of the last notes I'm going to have to say for you guys on this topic, because we have hit that 20-minute mark. Charting, super, super essential if you want to really start living as a woman in flow, really making proactive decisions for you, your business, and your body. It's essential if you want to get your hormones into balance and if you want to anticipate things as they come. So as you're getting to menopause, this is really in your mid-30s, it really helps to know what the heck is going on in your body, because then you can see perimenopause coming and you can make significant changes because you know how your body reacts to things. So it makes a huge difference throughout not just your menstruating life, but going and surviving through perimenopause and actually thriving through it and coming into that Wise Women Gateway a lot more gracefully. I don't want any of the women that are in my tribe going into menopause and being miserable. I don't believe that that's how it has to be. In fact, I know that's not how it has to be, and I want you guys to have all of the information that you need to not do that, and it's right here in this chart. So getting that charting done, really knowing what's going on in your body, being proactive in your business, in your life, in your problem solving, in your relationships, all these things. Imagine how much better your relationships would be if you know what's coming, if you can be prepared, if you can have the things you need to feel good on hand. At the very least, know, all right, I'm not really actually pissed off at such so-and-so. You know, I really don't want to kill my boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, business associate. It's just I'm coming into the space of my cycle. And just having that knowledge actually helps get you out of those moods and those hormones. So having this awareness and having this is a really huge part of it. And just really making your relationships more solid and amazing. And no matter where you are on that spectrum, from easy to painful, this is going to help you connect in. It's going to help your business thrive by planning your business with your cycle. We'll talk more about that in future videos, but it really helps you plan your business with your cycle so you know what to do, when to do it, and how to take care of yourself while you're doing that, right? So I hope that we have inspired you here to get your chart and start working on it. So when you have your chart here, one of the things I like to do is I like to use colored pencils because I sometimes erase and have to redo things. I have been known to screw up my chart from time to time. I have the key You can change things as you go. Lord knows mine have changed over the years. I've changed how I do my temperature over the years. I've changed how I chart my self-care over the years. I've changed how I chart my cervical fluid. In fact, I just decided to change the color of my cervical fluid and my follicular phase from light green to dark green. I don't know. I just felt like it, so I did. Right? So you can do all sorts of cool stuff with your chart. And then you can see how it's connected. So you can see how your food affects your mood, affects your self-care, affects your symptoms, affects your energy. You can see how your temperature is showing you the day before you're going to bleed. Your temperature dips the day before you get your period. It's amazing how much information your body holds when you start to have these connections. So if you've ever wanted to feel like you're one of those crazy women that knows exactly what's going to happen in her body at every moment, this is how you do it. All right, cool. Whew. I feel good. I got that out in 20 minutes. Yes. So I'm going to tag us out here. This is my key. I just wanted to share with you what my key looks like so you can see things have moved, have changed, different. I'm going to share all of this with you. And the last thing I'm going to say before I come out of this is I would love for you guys to start charting and posting them in the Facebook group. I love seeing everyone's charts. I love how different and dynamic we all are as women. And I think it's so cool to see how everyone does theirs. So please, please, please feel free to join the Facebook group, The Red Circle Lady Business, and post pictures of your chart. In fact, on Menstrual Monday, it is the perfect day to post pictures of your chart and let us know what's going on and how it's happening. All right, I'm going to pop out of the screen share. I'm going to come back to you guys. Whew! All right, so if any of you would like to stay and play and chart and hang out and actually fill your chart in if you haven't done it before, if you have questions using your chart, I'm absolutely going to stay and hang out and answer questions and color and everything with you guys. And if you need to run, because I said these would be 20-minute sessions, that's okay. I totally get it. Be free and come into the Red Circle Lady Business and ask any of your questions, post any of your ahas, your takeaways, inspirations, maybe something that I said today inspired you to start charting. I'd love to know so that I can tell more ladies. So let me know, all right? Thank you, Ovary Gang. You're the best. I'm going to unmute everybody. So let me know and let's play. Okay. Okay, Lori, can I unmute you? I'm going to unmute you. Hi, Lori.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I can show my video too.
Yay!
How are you?
I'm good.
That's good. Okay, so I've been on the pill for about 13 years now, and I've just recently gone off it. And hubby's gonna go and get the operation done and all of that. So I'm getting used to getting my period again because I haven't for many years. I've found that my periods now are very different from before.
Yes.
And in fact, I'm only lasting maybe 3 days, and that's about it. And so I'm sort of trying to. I still seem to be regular, like every 28 days. But I was interested in what you said about you can flip or change the day that you get your period. How does that work?
Well, there are things that you can do if you want to do that, but it depends on the woman and it depends on how your body reacts to things, and some stuff works for some women. And in the world of herbs, it really helps to talk to somebody who knows fully what they're doing about it. I have had a lot of success with women who just take high doses of maca to bring on their menstrual cycle. It seems to have no real side effects for women. I mean, your libido gets boosted very often, energy, it's an upper in that way. But the other herbs that will bring about a period can be dangerous, like pennyroyal, for instance. It works, it will get the job done, but it can also kill you. So, maybe not something you want to play with.
Okay.
But When you're coming off of birth, how long have you been off of birth control?
I've been on it for 2 months for me, maybe three, 2.5. Yeah.
Okay, so most women, it takes about 6 months. If you do nothing differently in your life at all, it takes
Okay.
about 6 months for your body to start to come into some kind of normal
Yeah.
period again. You
Okay.
can actually make that happen quicker. You can eat with your cycle, which I've got a ton of videos on my YouTube channel for free that you can just go dig through. In fact, if you go to my PMS playlist, I'm pretty sure that I have the foods for each of the phases of the cycle. I have 4 videos. I think they're on the
Okay.
PMS playlist, which might make it even easier for
Excellent.
you. But actually listen to those PMS videos, because when you're coming off of the birth control pill, it's very similar, because the birth control pill pumps you full of fake hormones. They're not bioidentical. They're just a little bit different. And I make this analogy a lot. Chimpanzee is very close in our DNA. It's only like 0.3% off or something, right? It's like a really tiny, tiny, tiny amount off. So the hormones in birth control are just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit off. But when we're talking about biology, it's a real big difference. So
Yeah.
PMS, 99% of the time, is caused by too much estrogen. So a lot of the things that I talk about with getting over PMS is about getting all of those hormones out of your body. Same exact thing when you're coming off of birth control pills. You need to get all those hormones out of your body.
Mm.
So those things, high fiber is one of my absolute top favorite ones. And I don't mean like go drink Metamucil. I mean like drink a bunch of chia seeds, sprinkle phylum husk.
Oh, yeah.
P-A-P-S.
Psyllium? Psyllium
Yes.
husk?
I said psyllium for a long time, and someone was like, no, it's phylum. And then I was like, okay, now I don't know. I know how to spell it, and I can't spell anything, but I know how to spell that. And then buckwheat is one of my other real top favorites. Those are my top 3 that I always recommend to women, because they're high in protein, they're high in fiber, they really help pull stuff out, and lots of water. So even if you add a little aloe, and then the chia does the same thing as the aloe. So they really help to pull the excess hormones out. And anything you can do to help support your liver. Really big dandelion teas. You know, in my Food and Flow program, we do a couple times a year, we do a cleanse. You don't have to do it. Some people do, some people don't. But we'll do a cleanse where it'll just be like no booze for the month, no caffeine, just give the liver a freaking break, let it get ahead a little bit. So that kind of thing. And that can make a really big difference. So doing that, and then just sort of really allowing your body to do what it needs to do, and getting it into a natural cycle will really help get it back into much quicker rhythm. And I have seen with clients coming off of birth control that we've cut that time from 6 months to 3.
Okay.
So
Cool.
it's a really, really successful protocol doing that.
That's cool.
And then what I meant by flipping is moon flipping. So I see this in my entrepreneurs all of the time. We will flip our periods. So if you look at it this way, new moon and menstrual phase go hand in hand, right? They're very similar in energies. They're introverted energies, they're yin energy, they're internal. And then full moon and ovulation are equal. So this is my menopausal women too. Like instead of charting with your period, you just chart with the moon. So I see for my entrepreneurial ladies a lot that we'll balance ourselves out. We'll flip so that we're bleeding on the full moon, so that we've got a little bit of this extroverted energy to help us get through like a really major launch. And then as soon as the launch is over, I'll see it flip back so that you go into that new moon menstrual phase. And then I'm every time I'm like, yeah, because your body's telling you to sit the fuck down. It just needs a break now. So yeah, it's a really cool, fun process that I've seen with women over and over again. And it's pretty rad, actually. So it's not a good or a bad thing to be bleeding with the new moon. That's a myth that I see out there a lot. You know, you have to bleed with the new moon. That's how you're supposed to do it. And there's no right or wrong
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, fascinating. That's
Yeah.
good. Yep. Start charting.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. That's it. I haven't got the business one, just that one.
No, that's perfect. That's exactly where you
Yeah.
start.
Cool. That's
Yeah,
good.
that's exactly where you start. And you gather the data. You know this. You're a data nerd, just like me. You
Yes.
start collecting the data, and then you can start really making
Mm,
some awesome choices.
that's great. Yeah, thanks. So what's the one thing I should start off with
Well,
keeping
the
an eye on?
first thing that there's two. One is just throw the phase of the moon in there.
Yeah.
That's really easy, and
Yeah.
it's kind of an anchor point along the way. On my charts, I tend to go ahead and write in where the moon is. So
Yeah.
like the upcoming moons, like I'll put them in my chart. Like even over here, the odds of me hitting the new moon in this cycle are slim to none, but I put it there. I haven't had a 30-day cycle in years, but
Yeah.
I stuck it there just so as a reference point. So I like to do that. So, hey, everybody, with your charts right now, go ahead and just write full moon on the 29th. So wherever you are, you can put today's date as the first fan blade and then just go out from there. So today's the 23rd. And I do my dates right next to my fans. So in between the moon and the blade, the fan blade, I put the date there. So the full moon is going to be on the 29th, and then the new moon is going to be on the 15th of next month, in May. So I would start with that. The phase of the moon, we're at, I think, 23%, 28%, right around in that range last night anyway. And then your cervical fluid. So that's really the where you start, because your cervical fluid will tell you when you're ovulating and menstruating, which are kind of your two bookends there. There are anomalies. There are women that have cervical fluid of ovulation that when they're not actually ovulating because it's a hormonal cascade thing. So I like to do temperature as well as cervical fluid, but just starting with the cervical fluid is like the perfect place to start.
Great.
Yeah. And then just add stuff in. Sometimes it's really easy. Like the circles around the moon energy. And sometimes it's really easy to be like, well, I had a ton of energy. Boom, done. And then sometimes you're like, oh, I have to think about this. Hold on. And then you go, man, maybe low energy.
Yeah. Actually, full moon is on the 30th for me because in Australia.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? It's usually, a lot of the times it will be full for 2 nights. It'll be 99% for 2 nights in a row. So I try not to be too perfectionist about that one. And sometimes I'll even write it like it was full moon, it was a full moon, and I'll just put it on both nights.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you want to chart it? Do you want to chart it on the night before or the night of if you're looking at it as days? So do you want to just write it in between the 2 days? Like there's so many little ways that you can do it. So whatever works for you. It's really just an approximation anyway. Like,
Right. Yeah.
And day 1 of your menstrual cycle, when you get there, is the first day you have a full bleed. So if it's like 4 p.m. and you've just got like this light flow going on, not day 1. Day 1 would be the next morning.
Okay.
Yeah. Same thing for spotting. Spotting is actually a hormonal imbalance. Not supposed to spot. And so, you want to note that in your chart, but that's not day 1. Spotting is a hormonal imbalance, as is brown blood. You want to have bright red, maybe even pink, really bright, like fresh. Oh shit, I just cut myself bright.
Yep.
Sweet. Anyone else have any questions or anything? And ladies, do feel free to unmute yourselves, pop on video, hang out. Okay, then I am going to plow through the different symbols on the chart. And again, feel free to unmute and ask questions. This is a circle, not a lecture portion. So, hi, Kelly. So do feel free to unmute and ask questions and whatnot as we go. I want this to be more of a circle feeling than anything else. Okay, so we just talked about the moon and the moon phases. And then the circles around it are energy. So how are you feeling? Up energy, low energy. And you can also interpret this in your own way. You know, this is your own personal chart. So I put my introverted, extroverted energies on my mood flower, this little guy down here. And I use this for, I have dark blue for on days I've napped, because I just needed a freaking nap, which tend to be in the menstrual phase, right? I have light blue for days where I just, I felt okay and I didn't take a nap, but I, thought about it, or I was like, I just need to veg out and watch like a Grey's Anatomy for an hour, or like I just need to turn my brain off for a little bit. And then I use orange because it's one of my favorite colors and it's very high energy and happy for me. So then I use orange for my really engaged time. And then I use these two circles. So sometimes I have an orange and blue where it's like, I felt a little bit better. Like this was, I had that car accident last week. So for me, I had a couple of really low energy days because my body was just beat to shit. And then I started to be able to move again right in here. And then I think, the first day that I colored in all orange was the first day that I was actually up and moving around the house and not in horrific pain or anything. And I didn't take any leave and I made it through the whole day. Okay, so then the teacups are for your symptoms and your self-care. Because your symptoms will really start to lessen as you get better and better about that self-care, right? So I use my teacup as my self-care and these hearts as my self-care. And I use my inside hearts for my symptoms. Now, had I been using this chart 6 years ago when I started this adventure, all of these hearts would have been all of my symptoms. I'd have had a color for throwing up. I'd have had a color for cramps. I'd have a color for migraine. I'd have a color for horrific diarrhea. I'd have a color for passing out. I'd have had a color for everything that happened, right? So I would have had all of these being different colors for different symptoms. So just kind of depending on how much your symptoms hold, I think comes down to how you want to do it. So if you have a lot of symptoms, you may want to use all of those hearts for different symptoms. If you don't have a lot of symptoms, if it's like maybe mood swings the day before and sore boobs and then cramps, which are very common for women, then 3, that's it. You really don't need more than 3. So you can do that. I highly recommend picking colors that you really love to make your self-care a color that you really like coloring. And hopefully you'll be coloring it every single freaking day. So picking a color that you really like can make a big difference in that one. I actually my symptoms have evolved over the years as I've gotten better and better. So I went from cramps being one color, and then for a period of time, I was differentiating between cramps and just abdominal pressure, like the precursor to cramps, but not actually into that painful cramp place. And then I had to do the same thing with migraines. I used to get migraines every month, day 3, without a doubt. I had to shut down my entire life and just be in a dark room in silence for at least 24 hours. So that was just black. And then as things got better, I shifted over to just my headaches And so I turned the hearts to this green color for headaches. So I was differentiating between migraines versus headaches because I wanted to see that progression. So, you know, allow yourself the space to make changes and do different things as well in there. And hopefully things will get better as you go. And it will. The mood flower is Chantel, actually, the beautiful, amazing woman who designed the fan. There's 6 major emotions. She's a student of psychology, so she brought in her education here. So she made 6 petals to the flower. So you can do that, the 6 major emotions. I actually do introverted and extroverted. And then I think on mine, I have happy, sad, angry, and anxious are the only ones that I use. I figure if something else comes up, I'll pick a new color and add it in. But they're the only ones that I've used in the last 3 years. So it works. It's good enough. And then I can actually put various amounts of introversion and extroversion. So my dark blue is my introvert and my pink is my extrovert. And so when I'm having, right after the crash, I was terribly extroverted, and then the light blue is my sad. And so it was just introverted and sad. And then I was introverted and sad with some anxiety over, crashing a car for the first time in my life. And then things got a little bit better, and I got a little distance in perspective and started to feel a little bit better. So then the orange, my happy color, started to creep in again. So, however you want to do it, that's just how I chose to do it. And you cannot do introverted and extroverted at all. I just think it's interesting because you can see the introversion and extroversion going with menstruation and ovulation, and kind of watch it grow and fade and grow. And it's kind of just a cool thing. Nerd. The next thing is libido. Libido is a sign of hormonal imbalance. So if there is absolutely asexual people, and I'm totally aware and love and fully support them. I would want to make sure it's not a hormonal imbalance for them. But for most of us, we have a libido, and when we don't, we're aware that something has changed, and that's a hormonal imbalance. So libido is right there. We split the heart in half because I like having lots of options for it. So you can mark having a little of something. You can mark having an orgasm. You can mark having an orgasm with yourself, an orgasm with a partner, whether you're using birth control or not. So you can really use a lot of different things. I like to put my yoni egg practice on there. So if I'm using one of my yoni eggs, I have different kinds. So I have different colors. So the pink is my pink quartz. My red is my red jasper. So I like using different colors for that. I'm also a fabulous single lady, so I have different colors for different partners because I have a few that I like to rotate through depending on my moods. Some of them have been around for a long time. What can I say? So I just like to have different symbols mean different things, so I know what they mean, and it's my secret code. The apple is your consumption. So how are your feet feeding yourself? How's your diet? And this is another one that I really like, having something that can evolve with you. So when I first started charting, I was noting on the days that I was eating gluten and the days that I wasn't. So I could see that correlation. This is how I found out that I cannot eat gluten. It just does not work for me. It is the bane of my poor uterus's existence. But that's how I figured it out. When I ditched sugar, I actually colored in a pink triangle inside of my apple so that I could see the days that I ate sugar and the days that I didn't. I still mark a little purple if I have a drink. I'll mark more if I have more than a drink. My family is a BRCA gene carrier. Pretty much all of the women except for myself and my mother got breast cancer at about 30 to 38. We did not, and I am 38, so I'm feeling pretty good. Or I will be in a couple months. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. I'm not going down with all the other women in my family, damn it. But alcohol directly affects breast cancer. So for women, even without the BRCA1 gene, 3 drinks a week or more increases your risk of breast cancer by 25%. So I always note my alcohol consumption because I want to make sure that I am not tempting fate. Like, it's already fucking with my family enough. I don't need to up the odds. So I make a note of that. And if I have more than one drink, I color in half that apple so I can really clearly see that. I do eating out as one of my colors as well. So I know the difference between the days that I've had really good nourished home cooked meals and the days that I go out, just because, you know, contamination across, you know, there's sugar and food out and all that kind of stuff. So I like to just take a note of that for myself. The star is cervical position. So your cervix does several things. It goes up and down. It goes forward and backwards. It moves around. It opens and it closes, and it gets soft and hard. Soft is the feeling of your lip. Hard is the feeling of the tip of your nose. So hard, not hard like a bone or computer or thing, but hard like cartilage in your body. When you are ovulating and menstruating, your cervix opens for obvious reasons, to allow sperm in and to let blood out. But your particular patterns of your cervix will be yours and yours alone. The up, down, moving about, soft, hard is really very unique to each woman. And I have a really high cervix, so I have a hard time getting to mine most of the time. You can squat. You can lift a leg like you're, you know, in the shower shaving and kind of push down like they have you do during like pap smears, that pushing feeling on your abdomen. And sometimes that'll bring your cervix into reachable motion. You need to have very clean, trimmed fingernails. Just really go very clean, very trimmed if you're going to do this. I charted my cervix for a long time. I don't do it anymore. I have a very sensitive cervix. It's hard to get to. It's just a pain in the ass. I'm also not using charting as a birth control method because I'm a single lady. So I use condoms every single time. So this isn't something that I chart. So actually I chart my meditation. So I color the star for my moving meditation, and I color the little circle on the inside for seated meditation. So I use it as my meditation tracker. You can make these symbols mean anything you want to mean, right? So you can change stuff. And that's just one that I've elected to change over the years because I don't feel like I really need to. And if I do get a partner and I want to start using it as birth control, I'll go back to charting my cervix. Your fluids, your cervical fluid. So your menstrual, I use green for my follicular phase because it's your springtime phase. Oh yeah, and you can see this was my old one. I was using lime green. So I changed to this dark green because I thought my apples and my cervical fluid were looking too much. So I changed it to dark green. So I use that from follicular. I started doing this for my ovulation. I did not ovulate this month. So this is how I showed that. I never got my ovulation fluid, but my temperature spiked. So I made this compromise where I colored around it that my cervical fluid did not reflect ovulation, but my basal body temperature did. So I use orange for my ovulation fluid color. So this was kind of my compromise for this month. And I picked this month to show you guys so you could see, you know, you don't necessarily ovulate every month. And a lot of women, PCOS, endometriosis sufferers, we tend to not ovulate more so than a normal woman. I also have a friend who's consciously trying to stop ovulating because she wants to save her eggs for a potential relationship and having a baby later in life. So she's been meditating to not ovulate, which I just thought was freaking brilliant. So anyway, just some ideas for that one. And then I use purple to track my little phase. I use purple because I believe that is the phase when you should be treating yourself like royalty. So I like to use purple to remind myself of that. And then these little guys are temperature. So on your key is the Celsius and Fahrenheit parameters, the averages, and I don't know them off the top of my head. For Fahrenheit, if you're dipping below 90, the low 96s, like 1 through 4-ish, you may have a hypothyroid condition. So you want to look at that. I have a hypothyroid and I dip down to 94 occasionally, and 96.4 occasionally. And then I just stuff myself with seaweed for the next like 3 days, which usually does the trick for me and it helps bring me back. But 96.5 is my normal my low basal body temperature. And I have hypothyroid. So just throwing that out there. There it is. Celsius is 35.5 or lower. You may have hypothyroid or Hashimoto's. So your body is just a font of fascinating information. And then I use different colors. So when I'm in the 96s, I use that dark blue. When I get the 97s, I use green. If I go into the 98s, which I don't really, unless I've had a fever once or twice since I've been doing this charting over the years. And then I use red. I think that's the color that I started using, but I just don't really go up that high very much. So this is how I can tell the difference between my 96s and my 97s. And I know Celsius is a much smaller spectrum, so you probably don't even need to show the difference. But in Fahrenheit, we need 2 colors to make it fit in that space. And then this little bit here is digestion. So at the beginning of my period, I tend to have very loose stool, and I use a darker brown color to mark that. And then I just use this brown for every other day when it's normal. I don't really get constipated. That's just not how my body works. But I would definitely pick a third color if I needed to, like gray or something, if I needed to signify that. But I definitely suggest picking 2 colors because of the hormones that your body needs in order to expel the blood from your uterus. That is why most women have looser stool during the day of menstruation. They are your prostaglandins. They actually inhabit every single part of your body. They're your inflammatory response. So when you cut yourself, your prostaglandins inflame the area, which tells your body, oh shit, we need to send some white blood cells and fix this. It's what your body does. It's the muscle contractions, it's the uterine contraction, and that's what happens. But it also will spread into the surrounding areas of the uterus, which are your intestines, which influence that digestive anomalies. So knowing that how to help your body. So like I do a lot of chia seeds the week before to help pull everything together as much as possible, and lots of high fiber foods. You can really actually help, and it will help, and anti-inflammatories will help as well. So like really pile on the turmeric or grab some turmeric pills and just pop them like the day before, day of. Even an ibuprofen, and I'm not a fan of it. I don't use it very often. I only use it in cases of like car crashes, or if I have to be on stage during the first day of my period. And I save it for those times so that when I do have to do something like that, I can, and it will work. But if it's really a bother for you, it will help with your digestion as well. So, but if you can do the natural anti-inflammatories, better. And then Chantal just put these little dots in here for you to do with whatever you would like to do. I have not actually given them any work to do since it's new this year that she added them in there, and I just haven't really thought about it and given them a home or something to do yet. And maybe I will one day, but I haven't so far. But it's another space that you can do something with and you can have some fun with. And then last but not least is that bar, which actually I didn't fill out this month. But this bar at the very bottom here, I usually pick a keyword for the month. So whatever, I'm trying to call in is typically what I put there, so that every day when I sit down to do my chart, I see that keyword and I can really just connect into it for a second. It's that law of attraction stuff. The more anchors you have, the better. So if you've got a goal for the month, you might want to put it there. Maybe it's an income goal, maybe it's a client goal, maybe it's a relationship goal.
Maybe it's maybe you just want more love, or maybe you just want more visibility, or maybe you just want more abundance. But throwing a keyword in there is a very good idea. And I'm going to do that tomorrow when I do my live charting on my Facebook page. It'll be fun. Okay, that is the whole chart. Do you guys have any questions on any of those symbols, or want a little brainstorming session on how to use it or put something together or anything? We're good? I'm getting some thumbs up. All right, cool. Yay! All right. Perfect. Thank you, ladies. We're going to do this again tomorrow. We're going to talk sisterhood circles tomorrow and support. And we're going to talk about stress levels and how our body responds to them, and the different types of sisterhood that are out there and how you need more than one. And it's going to be really cool. So I'm really looking forward to it. And of course, pop into the Red Circle Lady Business Facebook group and post your pictures of your charts and your ahas and all that good stuff. All right. Thank you so much, guys. I'm really stoked, and I will see you back here again tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.